what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to LA fires at critical stage as winds return and death toll rises. I think I saw the death toll rising to 24 from when I last looked at this, and yeah, that's obviously horrifying. And the fact that it could possibly get worse again is, I mean, I don't really know how to think it can get worse than it already is, to be honest, but I guess it just means more people will be affected. But yeah, the fact that these fires are still going on is absolutely mad, and the fact that they could go on for a lot longer is crazy, but that's just the point we're at. And I guess, yeah, we're going to see in this video what's happened over the last few days that I haven't seen news to do with this, and also, yeah, what's possibly going to happen in the coming days. But we're going to check this out. Obviously, anyone being affected by this, hopefully you're safe now, and I'm praying for all of you, because obviously this is a shit situation. But yeah, let's jump into this reaction.
It will never end as people in Southern California face a sixth straight day of deadly wildfires. Crews still at it, with winds expected to intensify again this week. At least 24 people have lost their lives. The Palisades fire still largely uncontained, and it's already the most destructive fire in LA County history. One local official says more than 5,000 homes.
What are they dropping? Is that from like a plane? That is so much. I don't even know what it is, but it's a massive amount of whatever it is.
Most destructive fire in LA County history. One local official says more than 5,000 homes have been wiped out in the Palisades fire alone. Thousands losing everything in a matter of hours, including one family who lost their daughter's ashes.
God damn.
We had a daughter 15 years ago, she'd be 15, and she passed away when she was 1, and her ashes were in our home, and they're gone. Like, every memory, every piece of physical evidence of her life is just gone, and that hurts.
Jesus, man.
Critical fire conditions flaring up once again, with the National Weather Service warning of a, quote, particularly dangerous situation by midweek. All of this threatening to fuel the major fires.
Red flag warning, fire weather watch. I mean, it's a load of areas. It's a massive area.
Which have already burned more than 40,000 acres in just under a week. That is an area bigger than the size of Paris, France.
Jesus.
California Governor Gavin Newsom says fire crews are moving into hotspots in advance.
So I'm up here in Mandeville Canyon, which was the site in the last 2 nights of tremendous investment of resources, firefighters working the line, a lot of those assets still here, not only in anticipation of potential flare-up here in the Palisades fire, but also pre-positioned, as we're pre-positioning in many counties throughout the state of California because of the upcoming winds we're expecting. Monday, peaking Monday night into Tuesday, extending into Wednesday.
Joining me now to discuss the latest is Brian Rice, the president of the California Professional Firefighters. Brian, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for being with us. We did hear from the governor overnight about pre-positioning fire crews for more potential flare-ups. What do you think is the scale of the risk of that here?
I think that for the next couple of days, and the governor said it through Wednesday, there's a pretty large spread of a red flag warning. I think the threat is very real, and that the state of California is moving resources in to match. I can't say match that threat, but in anticipation of that threat. The threat's real.
So, sir, at this point, I mean, what do you think are the biggest risks from these winds? Which neighborhoods do you think are
cases up to 40 years? So you're seeing a much higher fuel load. It is the neighborhoods that are in front of
the... So the winds are... So they obviously slowed a lot, but I guess with what's being said, it's going to go up a lot. Probably from when I'm doing this reaction.
The flame front.
They need here. I mean, are they running into any issues along the lines of, obviously there's already been investigations called for and apparently launched into why the hydrants ran dry in the Palisades, for example. Are there any other issues like that you're hearing from crews, and what are they telling you about how residents can best help them right now?
Some of the
I want to see more.
There'll be time for exhaust.
Highest level, extremely critical in some places. That is a 3 out of 3 in terms of danger, and it could stay that way for days. Shortly, the wind speeds could be near hurricane-level gusts.
Again? How? How has it been so brutal and slowed, calmed, and then it's just going to pick up again? Oh my days, bro. Jesus.
Again, the fear is the conditions will soon become explosive. Just moments ago, a fire battalion chief shared this update.
With the red flag warning imminent, every one of our fires that's currently...
So these percentages, is this how much of the fire's been stopped? I think it must be.
Active.
So the Palisades and the Eaton fire are still, like, burning like crazy.
The containment lines that are not fully contained yet are still a challenge, and it's possible that wind could blow in.
All right, more than 100,000 people are in the evacuation zones this morning. The death toll stands at 24, but that number could rise. There are dozens of people said to be missing.
That's got to be the worst way to go, man. Oh, that's fucking horrifying.
Get right to Malibu. CNN's Stephanie Elam is there. Stephanie, we can see you standing in front of just the destruction.
Where is she?
Is the overall effect of what we've been seeing here. Take a look at this. This was an inn right on the Pacific Coast Highway, just decimated by the blaze. A Palisade fire coming through here. And you think about it, the Palisade fire has burned through more than 23,000.
The BBC one. This is...
The number of people known to have died in the Los Angeles wildfires has risen to 24, with high winds forecast over the coming days. Fire crews are now...
Wait, and let me just search. LA current wind speeds. So... wind speed... Wait, will the forecast be there? No. So it says it's 2 to 3 miles per hour. So I don't really know what... Is it just certain regions have more wind? Or is this not the best way to look at it? I'm kind of confused. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Now facing a race against time to avert further destruction. But from the ashes, many remarkable stories are rising as people battle to stop their neighbourhoods from burning down. Our correspondent Helena Humphrey has this report.
Oh, my house.
Mate, poor guy.
For 36 years, fighting fires was Rich Snyder's profession. Now retired, when flames tore through his community in Pasadena, it was personal. Armed with a hose and with his bare hands, suddenly he wasn't just saving strangers. He was saving his neighbours and their homes.
Lord, help us. Lord, with your hands.
Whether it was divine intervention or Rich's sheer determination, their lives were saved. Among them, a neighbour with additional needs, confused amid the chaos.
No, Greg, your house is on fire. Your house is... Greg, you have to come with me. I've still got to process it.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, my neighbor needs assistance, and we told him early on to leave, and he said, no, I'll stay. And I grabbed him, and I was pulling on him, and he was fighting me because he was going to go back in his burning house and lock the door. You know, we got him out, and we looked back, and his house was fully involved.
Across LA County, some 60 square miles of land, now scorched earth. Firefighters have gained ground against the two largest blazes, the Palisades and Eaton fires, but the devastation left behind is staggering.
This is Malibu. Normally you wouldn't be able to see the Pacific Ocean from here, but all of those multi-million-dollar mansions are gone. It is destruction as far as the eye can see, and the road to recovery will be long.
And with forecasters warning that the fierce Santa Ana winds could return, the battle is far from over. Residents in the fire's path face a cruel waiting game, fearing that the nightmare will strike again.
I am terrified because if it does change, I actually don't know where I would go, to be honest. Like, I don't have family here. I have friends, but they're all affected. So I don't have a set plan in mind, and it's terrifying.
Amid the terror, a political storm brews. President-elect Donald Trump has criticised what he calls incompetent California politicians for the crisis. In just over a week, it will be one he inherits.
Is the incoming president expected to come here?
I believe so.
What awaits Donald Trump, if he comes, may reveal an even bleaker reality than what is known so far, as the number of missing continues to grow.
Look at these pictures.
Helena Humphrey, BBC News, Los Angeles.
Well, former California legislator and LA resident Mike Gatto told us anger is mounting at how the authorities have reacted.
Yeah, I bet.
There's a lot of anger here. I'm not going to lie to you. I am a Democrat. California is a state that is run by Democrats. There's a lot of voters here who are Democrats. But more and more, I am hearing quite a bit of rage from people who live in Los Angeles at our Democratic elected officials. The common phrase that's going around is that this was 50% weather and 50% incompetence. It's things like the response time, the preparation, did we heed the warnings? Angelinos, just to give you a sense of things, the other day we all got a frantic notice on our cell phones that said you need to evacuate. Just about everybody in this county of 10 million thought that their house was on fire or their street was on fire. It turned out to be a false alarm. They announced it was a false alarm, and then a few hours later we got another evacuation notice that was another false alarm. And so, just things like that don't really impart much trust with authorities.
Crazy.
If you can't listen to the evacuation notices and it becomes the boy who cries wolf, people are going to die because they're going to ignore the next one.
Exactly. That's very true.
Well, KJ Matthews, a journalist in LA, told us what she's been doing to help her neighbours as thousands have lost their belongings and their homes.
I'll be honest with you. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. And so this is scary. This is my hometown. This is the town that raised me. And to see all the people, many that I know, that have been displaced, either they have lost their home completely and they're homeless, or there's been damage to their home and their area has been evacuated and it's just untenable. They can't move right back in until repairs are made. So to see that, and then every day you're waking up and you're hoping that today is the day that all the fires will be put out, and that's not the case. And the winds either die down or they pick back up. Over this weekend, I was lucky enough to have the winds die down a bit so that I can get out and donate. I've always wanted to donate the last couple of days, but I was a little bit afraid because they had more evacuations going on, particularly in the San Fernando Valley. And so I didn't want to drive in that area. I didn't want to be an impediment to the hardworking firefighters that were trying to put out the fires. So I waited until the weekend and I was able to donate to a lot of teenage girls that lived in the Eaton area where the Altadena and Pasadena fires have been happening, and was just able to get out there and to deliver, shoes and socks and clothing and toothpaste and toothbrush and just things that they need, because many of them that left their homes, they thought they would be back in like 3 days, and then they came back and they have nothing.
God damn, man.
We can speak to our correspondent David Willis, who is in Brentwood in LA for us live. So, David, we've been hearing the news of the further winds that could hamper the firefighters' tasks. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that?
That's right. And just to bring you up to speed, it is, just after 1 o'clock in the morning here. And as you can see behind me, a curfew is in place on the outskirts of Brentwood, the latest upmarket enclave to find itself in the crosshairs of the worst disaster in California's history. Evacuation orders are in place around here, and the power is out all around us in this part of Sunset Boulevard after winds picked up over the weekend, and those winds are expected to gain in strength over the course of the next 3 days to hurricane force in places, and that's prompted officials here to declare that the evacuation orders will remain in place until Thursday morning at the earliest before they are lifted, to obviously the chagrin of many here who've been displaced from their homes and are very anxious to get back there to see what, if anything, remains of their homes and their belongings. And a little earlier on, it was revealed that cadaver dogs have been brought in to help with the search for human remains in the worst affected areas of these fires. And the LA Coroner's Office has revealed that 24 people are now known to have died in these fires, with 16 people still missing. That death toll is almost certain to rise.
You mentioned those displaced people. Where are they, David? And are they getting the the food, the shelter, the help that they need at this time?
Well, there are about 9 separate evacuation centers that have been set up around Los Angeles, funded by church groups and other community organizations. Some people have gone there. Others have housed themselves in hotels. Airbnb is offering some sort of dispensation to people who can't afford their normal prices. And there are those, of course, who have moved out of town completely, some to relatives in other states, and some perhaps to seek a new life away from the sort of threat that these fires can pose. It's going to be a massive rebuilding operation, and I think there's quite a few people who won't have the stomach for it.
The curfew you mentioned, can you just explain, David, why that's in place?
It's basically to prevent people who may want to come back into the evacuation zones, possibly to steal or loot, from being able to do so. There were reports of looting in the first few days of this disaster, and as a result, the National Guard officers who've been, you can see behind me perhaps, have been drafted in, hundreds of them, to help the police secure these areas and make sure that people who've gone through one tragedy don't.
Let me just quickly go through this one.
But we begin this hour with the deadly wildfires in California that have now tragically claimed the lives of at least 24 people. Crews are racing to gain control because of the powerful winds in the forecast that could lead to additional spread. One Altadena resident spoke to 60 Minutes about how quickly the fire destroyed his home.
Red. I wonder what does the colour matter? Probably not. Wonder why it's red though. This is mad to see. This is LA, bro. This is the US.
Happening right now in Los Angeles, and it's just utterly devastated, completely wiped out. So the question, of course, becomes, are the folks
time, but they have never seen 100-mile-an-hour winds that are fueling the fire, and those winds and that weather condition is what really impacts, where this fire is going to go, but more importantly, how they're able to try to contain it in those first few hours and days. And because it was in such a populated area, it just makes it that much more challenging to be able to get in there and secure the
outlook. Pretty much the same with that extreme fire danger.
50 to 7, wind gusts up to 50 to 70 miles per hour. Oh, Jesus, man. That is horrifying. So it could actually get worse.
Enhanced north of Los Angeles. Look at those gusts. This is later on this afternoon, gusts to 50 miles an hour. Tonight into the overnight, we could have gusts up north of Los Angeles, up towards Santa Clarita of 60 or 70 miles per hour, and a red flag warning in effect. Vlad, I'll send it back to you.
My God, man. This shit just doesn't stop. LA fires look like a nuclear blast zone. It really does, man. Jesus, bro. Oh, look. It's looking like it maybe slowed down for a little bit, briefly, but with 24 people obviously confirmed dead and 16 people missing, that's just going to rise up for sure, and that's obviously devastating. But, man, these next few days are critical. I mean, I think over tonight it's going to pick up a bit, but hopefully it doesn't get as the gusts aren't as bad as this. I mean, I don't know if it's guaranteed or it's just like a prediction, but you've got to prepare for the worst, right? But yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed that isn't the case. But yeah, man, I guess we'll see what happens. And yeah, obviously it's horrifying, but that's pretty much it. Until next time, peace.